Good evening, Minnesota Twins fans. Welcome again to another episode of Twins Spotlight. I believe we're up to episode 16, and our guest tonight will join us shortly. My name is Seth Stows from Twins Daily, twinsdaily.com. Appreciate everyone listening and tuning in. We've got a fun one tonight, so let's jump right into that. And our spotlight tonight is on a Minnesota native named Adam Bray, a right-handed pitcher. He's from Eden Prairie, went to South Dakota State University, was drafted by the Dodgers, but then traded to the Twins organization a couple of years ago and reached AAA. He has been featured on Twins Daily before. We did a story on him the year that he got traded to the Twins organization. So be sure to check that out on twinsdaily.com. But without further ado, let's bring in the man under the spotlight, and that's Adam Bray. Adam, how are you tonight?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. So I know you're not in Minnesota right now, but you are a Minnesota guy. But where are you at, and how did you enjoy your 2020 off season so far?
Yeah, it's been a crazy year. I'm actually down in Florida right now. My wife's family has a condo down here, so my work back in Minnesota got shut down, so it was perfect timing. We came down here for a week and then extended our stay to 3 weeks. So I can't complain. The weather's been great. I've been able to train outside, and yeah, so weird year, but making the most of it.
Absolutely. Now let's start with 2020. It's kind of hard to ignore. You were in Fort Myers, just ready to kind of get going with spring training. How early had you gotten to Fort Myers to start kind of working out at the facilities?
I think I got there sometime in February, a couple weeks before I think we got rolling with games, and then I was only there for 3 weeks maybe, and then we got sent home.
So what was that? I mean, you're just there, you're throwing a bullpen every couple of days, you're getting your workouts in, probably getting used to the weathered climate down there. So what were the steps from that to finding out that something's going on and you're headed home?
Yeah, I think I threw a couple bullpens, a couple live batting practices, and then we were starting scrimmages when we heard that the big league team, their game got canceled, and then everything started to lock up. Like they roped everything off. There was no fans that could come around for the next couple days, and then we knew that something was up. And then they took us all into the big auditorium and told us the news, what was going on, and then we were sent home the next day.
All right, I always forget to do this, but again, I'm Seth Stoles from Twins Daily, joined by that direction Adam Bray, right-handed pitcher in the Twins organization from Minnesota. We're getting to know him a little bit here, but I want to remind anyone that's listening live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you're listening, feel free to send us your questions, comments in whatever social media you'd like to, and we'll be sure to ask those as we get going. I did want to ask you, Adam, real quick. As you were sent home, what did that mean for you? Were you still thinking it'd be a couple of weeks? How were you able to prepare yourself, not knowing what was ahead?
Yeah, I don't think anyone knew how long this was going to be. My wife was coming down the day I got sent home, and so we just stayed down here for a week and kind of just relaxed. I was still throwing at a local park down here, just trying to stay ready, doing everything I could. I just thought it would be a couple weeks, but it ended up being longer than that. And so, yeah, and then we went home after a week, and I was training this whole summer, working a little bit, and just trying to stay ready for anything that came up.
Were you in contact with a pitching coach? Again, you had pitched at both AA and AAA in 2019, so I can assume you probably would have been at one of those sites to start 2020. Was there a pitching coach or one of the coordinators that you kept in contact with fairly frequently?
Yeah, the Twins did a really good job keeping in contact with us this year, from pitching coaches, pitching coordinators, to medical staff, um, to the strength coaches, doing assessments and making sure we had everything we needed this year to train this summer. And so they did a really good job keeping in contact with us for sure every couple weeks. Yep.
Okay. So again, you're from Minnesota, so we're going to bring in a guest here. It's David Youngs. He's been writing a Minnesota-made feature at Twins Daily the last few months. He's talked to Kent Herbeck, Caleb Thielbar, did one with Matt Wallner after we had him on the Twins Spotlight a few weeks ago. So David Youngs, you've got the floor. You go ahead, ask Adam your Minnesota-made questions.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Seth. It's great to be here. I'm coming to you from Fargo, North Dakota. Um, Adam, I wish the weather was as great up here as it is down there, but that just simply is not the truth. But it's great to be with you. And Adam, first and foremost, if people don't know, you're a Minnesota kid. Went to Eden Prairie High School. Obviously, you were drafted in 2015. But growing up for you, did you grow up a big Twins fan? And if so, who are those players that stuck out to you as a fan growing up?
Yeah, I was a huge Twins fan. Growing up, going to the Metrodome. Biggest fan of Joe Mauer, Torrey Hunter, Johan Santana, all those guys. I think on those teams were like Jock Jones, Brad Radke, Christian Guzman, all those kind of guys. So I grew up going to games, and I just loved being a Twins fan, and still am.
Absolutely. So you got to grow up in a period of time where the Twins had some success with that string of AL Central championships. And you mentioned Jock Jones. I know, Seth, you had Jock on a few weeks ago when we were talking about Torrey Hunter. Uh, And as far as growing up, Adam, you're a Twins fan. You pitched at and you played at Eden Prairie High School and had a wonderful career for the Eagles. You were drafted in 2015 by the Dodgers. When you were drafted, what were your initial emotions? Even though obviously it wasn't the Twins, I mean, you were drafted by not only a Major League Baseball organization, but one of the marquee organizations in the league.
Yeah, I was just excited to get drafted, to be honest. And I just wanted an opportunity. I had really good years at South Dakota State, and I just I wanted to play some pro ball, and I didn't know that it'd be 7 years now that I'm still playing. But just wanted a shot and got the shot from the Dodgers and took it, and here I am now. So couldn't be happier. Dodgers are a class act, and so they gave me an opportunity for sure, and I'm so grateful and happy for that.
Absolutely. And obviously now you're with the Twins organization. And when you first found out that news that you'd be headed to the Twins organization, what was that like for you and the people that are close to you in your life, knowing that you'd get to be a part of the organization that you grew up watching? You may not get to play at the Metrodome, but you get to be a part of that organization.
Yeah, it was a dream come true. I was in spring training, and I got the call. I think I was in the clubhouse, and I got the call to come out to this courtyard that we had, and there was a bunch of guys getting released the day before, so I didn't know what was going on, and then they told me I got traded to the Twins, and I couldn't believe it. Yeah, like I said, it's a dream come true, and I've always wanted to play for the Twins. And I think it was Jeremy Zoll that got me over here, and so couldn't be happier.
Well, that's great, and you mentioned it earlier, and it pains me to say it because I'm in Fargo, home of the NDSU Bison. But you were a Jackrabbit. You
Yes,
you went to
sir.
SDSU, had a wonderful career there, um, and you're not the only one in the organization that's a Jackrabbit as well. Caleb Thielbar went to South Dakota State and had a wonderful career there. Uh, do you ever stay in touch with Caleb, talk about your college experiences, and does he provide advice for you? What does that relationship look like?
Yeah, so when I was in college, Caleb's a little bit older than I am. So when I was in college, he would come, or I think he lives there, and so he would come to our practices and talk to us and train with us, and because he was getting ready for his season, and so just having that experience, and he's been around for a while, so just picking his brains has been awesome. I still keep in contact with him every so often just to see how he's doing, and he's got an unbelievable story, and it's cool that the Twins signed him back this year for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. If there's a feel good story out there in the world of baseball, Field Bars is definitely up there. One final question for you, Adam. When you look back at the experiences that you've had growing up in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, going to Eden Prairie High School, and now you're in the Minnesota Twins organization, the team that you grew up watching play. Uh, what emotions come to mind, and I guess who do you credit, and when did you start to realize that this is a reality?
Yeah, like I said, it's a dream come true to play for your hometown team. Growing up watching them, I couldn't thank my parents enough for supporting me. My wife, all the coaches, um, all the trainers, um, the strength staff, just everyone growing up and getting me to this point that I am now. So I can't thank everyone enough, and hopefully I can play for a lot longer.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Adam. Twins fans, be sure to check out Twins Daily. We've got another Minnesota-made feature story coming out tomorrow on not a player, but on another very integral part of the Minnesota Twins organization. I'll hand things back to you, Seth. And Adam, it was great speaking with you. And we'll see how that NDSU SDSU game goes this spring if they play.
Yeah, go Jacks.
Roll Herd.
Wow. Roll Cobbs? I don't know.
I'm a Kyber as well. I got my ring there. So
Maybe I haven't mentioned this quite yet. I'll put the banner up here as we do have a question from the audience. Again, please feel free to ask your question. This one comes from Facebook. Missy asks, what position do you play?
I'm a right-handed pitcher, so started, relieved, closed, opened. Pretty much do it all right now. So whatever.
Yeah, I know you did a lot of openers. In 2019. It's hard to think of that's not last year anymore. I mean, it's really almost 2 seasons ago. So I want to follow up on a couple of David's questions. Actually, not only did you play at Eden Prairie High School, but you won a state championship, and then your American Legion team won a national championship, and you were a big part of that. I know you were pitching and hitting at that time. Remind us what positions you played back then besides pitcher, and just what those experiences like. I mean, they're 10, 12 years ago now, but I imagine they're still pretty vivid in your memory.
Yeah, it's crazy how long ago that was. It seems like yesterday. So I played a little bit of first base and then I DH'd. We won a championship actually on Target Field. So I was the starting pitcher when I was a junior, and we won. And then the Legion World Series, I DH'd and played a little first too, and the experience was amazing. Back-to-back years going to the championship, and just the friendships I made and the players we had. We had a really, really good team. I think 8 of the 9 guys went on to play some sort of college baseball. So it was just unbelievable experience. Eden Prairie has a tradition of winning, and so it was fun to be a part of for sure.
And I want to follow up on the South Dakota State thing. I believe you actually played with Blake Trinan probably for at least 1 year, if not 2. Was he kind of the stud of the staff at that point? I mean, obviously he's had a really nice major league career so far, and obviously I'm sure hopes to continue that for a little longer.
Yeah, actually Blake was gone by the time I got there, but he did come back for a year or two in the off season and train with us. But yeah, great guy, down to earth guy, very classy, and so he's had a pretty great career. So it's fun to watch him and see what he can do out there.
And let's go back to even your decision to go to South Dakota State, which I believe was just transitioning to Division I at that time, or we're in the process of doing that.
They were Division I, but
your
only
options coming out of high school.
Yeah, they were Division I just for a couple years though before I got there. So South Dakota State, they gave me a shot to pitch right away as a freshman. That was number one. I wanted to go somewhere where I could develop, pitch right away, make an impact. I didn't want to sit on the bench. And so that was number one. Number two was it was close to home, and my family could come and watch. It's only about 3.5 hours away, so that was big. And then the sports, and they were up and coming. The community rallies around all the sports teams. They were building a huge indoor facility, big football stadium. We got a new stadium on the baseball field. Um, and so it was up and coming. Everything was up and coming. Academics are great. And so it just seemed like a really good fit for me.
And let's step away from the sports aspect. You mentioned the academics. I know you went there, I think, 4 years. Were you able to finish a degree? Was that important to you, or is that something you still plan to work on?
Funny you say that because I just graduated about a week ago.
I thought I remembered seeing that. What's your degree in?
Yeah, public and community health. And so I took a couple years off when I got drafted, and then every year I've been chipping away a class or two to get my degree. And so I'm really happy that I got it done. So 2020 wasn't so bad after all.
Yeah, you took advantage of some off time, I'd say. This is Adam Bray, right-handed pitcher in the Twins organization. Again, in 2019, between Double A and Triple A, he averaged more than a strikeout per inning. He worked as a closer. He worked as an opener quite frequently, working even 2 or 3 innings, and worked some middle relief. So kind of the jack of all trades on a pitching staff, which obviously I think as we look to the Twins, I mean, they're willing to start throwing bullpen guys out there in the 3rd, 4th innings. So you need all kinds, and you're getting a lot of those opportunities. But I want to welcome questions from anyone that's listening. Appreciate those. We'll be on here for another about 10, 15 minutes or so, depending on how many questions we get. But you'll remember this guy, Adam. In 2018, you were in Fort Myers, and Marshall Kellner says, "What's up, Adam? What was it like having to work with that annoying broadcaster in Fort Myers in 2018?
Oh, Marshall, good to see you. Loved working with Marshall. He's a great guy. Works really hard. Very intelligent guy. And so I love my time in Fort Myers for sure. I actually did see him this offseason too. We ran into each other at a Chipotle. So it was fun to catch up, and we always text a little bit about the Vikings and whatnot. So Good to see you, Marshall. Good to hear from you.
Very good. Yeah, Marshall obviously was on a podcast I did this spring in Fort Myers, which seems like so long ago. But I want to talk to you a little bit about what I just mentioned, and that's pitching both at Double A and Triple A last year. The first part of my question is simply pitching in different roles. You've started again, you've been an opener, you've been a closer, you kind of fit everywhere. What is the mentality going into a game if you're not the opener? And I mean, how do you even prepare for those different roles, especially when you're throwing 2 to 3 to even 4 innings at times, not necessarily knowing on the other days if you're going to pitch or when you're going to pitch? How tough can that be?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mentality is the same. You prepare the same way. Relieving and starting, I have a little bit of a different routine. Not many people do, but yeah, the mentality is the same. Attack hitters, get guys out, and give the team a chance to win. And so I did a little bit of everything last year, and I think that's very valuable. That I've been in a lot of situations, and so, but yeah, just keeping the same mindset when you go out there. And like I said, attacking hitters, getting guys out, and giving the team a chance to win for sure is what I was focusing on last year.
So the other side of that question is, pitching at both Double A and Triple A. Kind of it's the same question, but it's kind of asking it twice in once. What was the jump like for you going from High A Fort Myers up to Double A Pensacola? And then you kind of went back and forth between the two, but could you see a difference between Double A and Triple A?
Yeah, I could. I got a little bit of a dose of like Double A when I went to the fall league, and so when I played in Double A in 2019, I didn't feel like that was a big jump, but from Double A to Triple A was a big jump for me. The balls were different. The hitters are a lot better up there and have more of a plan, and they've had some big league time, and the balls were flying last year. So, but yeah, I mean, same mentality. It's baseball, so I think there's a lot more raw hitters down in AA, and on AAA they're more veteran guys take better at bats, and so. But yeah, I mean, I loved last year was a crazy year. I got moved up and down twice, and so that took a little bit of a toll on me and my wife moving around a lot. But there was a lot of great guys on both teams, but especially like AAA. There was a lot of older guys that I could pick their brains and talk to them about some stuff. So.
All right, and just kind of looking at your numbers, I think I mentioned the strikeout inning. It was about a strikeout inning. In 93 innings between the two locations, you had 83 strikeouts, but just 26 walks, so that's not very many walks. How do you describe yourself as a pitcher? I mean, maybe starting with what pitches do you throw, and then, what is your I don't want to say intent, but, what is your drive going out there with each batter?
So I throw four-seam fastball, curve 12-6 curveball, and then I just started throwing a splitter this June, I believe. So I don't throw overly hard, and that's something I'm working on, but more so I would say a strikeout pitcher, and I got to hit my spot. And so I don't walk a lot of guys, throw a lot of strikes, get weak contact, and so yeah, I would say more of a strike thrower.
And again, just so people are aware, I mean, at AA, you posted a 2.55 ERA, and at AAA, it was a 2.77 ERA. So even with those adjustments, it had to feel good to get good results with different coaches, different front offices, things like that, different people watching. I mean, to be seen at those two different levels, not only you're seen by what the Twins front office and such, but now everyone's seen you succeed at a high level. That had to give you a little bit of confidence going into what would have been an exciting 2020 for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. When you're in AAA, I mean, you're one call away from the big leagues, and everyone's watching you every single game. Like last year, a lot of guys got moved up and down. I think they're called like the taxi squad or something. But yeah, I mean, every game there's scouts at every single game watching, and coaches are always writing reports, and so they're preparing you for the big leagues. And so you got to take every game one game at a time, and go out there and give it your all every single game.
All right, the last 5, maybe 8 minutes here with Twins prospect, right-handed pitcher Adam Bray, live from Florida. As we are in northern Minnesota, got about, 3 inches of snow today, and it sounds like we could get more tomorrow. It was a balmy, I think, 10 degrees today after being a balmier -10 yesterday morning. So I'm sure you're not missing that at all. But again, any questions are certainly welcomed. I wanted to touch on, you mentioned it earlier, the Arizona Fall League. You played there in 2018 at the end of your first season with the Twins. I think you missed some time right out of spring training. One, I'm sure you're getting used to the organization, but I think fighting a couple of injuries as well. But what was the Arizona Fall League experience for you? I know you went there with, I think, 5 or 6 other Twins prospects, and Tommy Watkins was the manager, which I imagine is just thoroughly enjoyable, having watched him manage, in Cedar Rapids and other places as well.
Yeah, great experience. You're playing with a lot of the top prospects in all of baseball, and so a lot of great talent on the field every single game, and just to get more innings under my belt and compete a little bit more that year. Like you said, I got hurt when I got traded over, and so I missed half of the year. So just throwing more innings and playing in that fall league was a great experience. We lost in the championship, but the friendships and the players that I got to play with, I think a lot of the guys are in the big leagues or had big league experience these past couple of years. And so it was really fun. It's something that every player wants to play in. So.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the roster there. I mean, it was yourself, Travis Blankenhorn, Jalen Davis. Trying to scroll through here, but Luke Raley, yourself, Griffin Jacks, Hector Lujan.
Yep.
Devin Smeltzer, who now has 2 years really of time under his belt as well. But also I see, you played with Dalton Varsho, Pavin Smith, Jazz Chisholm. I mean, that's a pretty loaded roster there. That had to be a lot of fun. Wanted to also talk about actually, first, let me ask this question. And David, of course, had a chance when he was on here, but he's asking yet another question of you, and that is, how excited are you to pitch in the Twins' new farm system locations? Obviously, news broke last week, officially, even though it's kind of poorly kept secrets. Twins AAA facilities will be in St. Paul, where their alternate site was this year, playing with the Saints. And secondly, their AA will be in Wichita, which is a $75 million new stadium. So have you had much time to kind of even think about, playing in those places this coming year?
Not really. I mean, I've seen pictures of the new Wichita Stadium. It looks incredible. Everyone's been raving about that place, and then obviously the Saints Stadium is unbelievable place as well, and the fans are great there. I've gone to a fair amount of Saints games, not at the new stadium, but the old one. But I mean, anywhere I play, it's going to be a great year, and so yeah, I can't complain. I mean, it's I'm glad the Twins are about 10 miles away from Target Field, or the Saints, sorry, and our AAA team.
Oh yeah, that'll be nice. Probably even closer than if you were just to stay at home. But talk a little bit about. Let's get to know you on a different level. What are some of the things that you enjoy doing outside of the game of baseball? Maybe you and your wife do. Obviously hanging out in Florida is probably different in the winter than hanging out in Minnesota. But what are some of your hobbies and things you guys enjoy doing?
Yeah, so this summer we just took up golf, or my wife took up golf. I've been golfing for a little bit. So we like to golf. I really enjoy cooking, fishing, traveling, just being outside and enjoying the outdoors. But yeah, golfing is my new favorite hobby for sure.
But I mean, we have to ask: are you any good?
I'm all right. I'm getting better.
Who are your teammates you've golfed with that are competitive, or even in that really good level?
Oh boy. I don't know. I mean, I think Tyler Wells, now he's not with us, but he was pretty good. I haven't golfed with Ryan Mason. He's pretty good. But I really haven't gone out with the guys, so I don't really know who's the best.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to get down to Fort Myers in February or sometime this spring, and maybe even on some off days or afternoons off, you can go find some golf courses with some of those teammates, and hopefully I can be down there, and we can both be down there in March or whenever that happens to be. Of course, today it came out that MLB is looking at a later start next year again, so we'll see what happens, but. Adam, thanks so much for joining. Congratulations on everything, not only baseball related, getting your degree. I'm sure that means a lot to you and your family and all the people that have been around. Let me ask one last question. Who are some of those people in your life that have really helped you to get to where you are now? I'll let you think about that for a minute as we find out some verification here for you. Allison Mason, mom, says Mason is a +1 handicap. So that verifies that, yes, he is pretty good.
Pretty good.
So, Adam, who are those people, either baseball or just in general, that have kind of helped you get to this point where you are now? And I know that's not fair because you end up leaving out people, but, I mean, I'm sure there's some people that have really made a strong impact on you.
Yeah, for sure. Family is number one. My grandpa was my number one fan growing up, and he passed away a couple years ago, but he was my number one fan. Watched every game, listened to every game. He was at a bunch of them, and so he was a big impact. My wife, college coaches, like I said, training staff, just everyone getting me to this point, my friends. And so there's a lot of people I can't even really name them all, but there's just a lot of people that have made an impact and continue to make an impact. Oh, I think you're muted.
I think you're muted, Seth.
I only did it twice during this show, so that's not too bad. But brought David back in here, and I just want to say thank you to him for participating as well. But really want to thank Adam for taking time tonight here to do this. Very appreciated. Hopefully you're enjoying your, I guess, extended off season, your time in Florida. Happy holidays to you and your family. And I want to say thank you, but also thank you to everyone who listened. We did get a bunch of questions, which is not always the case, so I appreciate all of those. And again, you can listen to this on Twins Daily Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Going forward, we'll also get it up on the Twins Daily podcast here very shortly, so you can download that wherever you get your podcast from. With that, I want to say thanks again, guys, and go Twins.
Go Twins.
Win Twins.
Thanks, guys.